So how do you feel? The miracle worker.
Oh, I
Looks like the
feel
miracle has tried.
no, no.
Is there more to be seen?
Well, I mean, I don't want to go into scripture, but there were points where the Moses had to bring the Ten Commandments. The Israelites said, "We don't like it. We don't like it. Take it back."
But
I think that's the point. But on a more serious note, I think that this was a very difficult fixture, and he provided United a clear indication where they are, because make no mistake, you might want to discount the fact that it was just Newcastle, but if you go into the details, you'd realize that Newcastle under Eddie Howe have grown in leaps and bounds. In fact, they are one of the teams in the league which is well drilled. Well drilled, they understand all of the functions that make the unit perform better. They understand the roles that they have to play, and they have players who are dedicated to the cause. And for me, it was always going to be a difficult cause. It showed you once more also, maybe before we come to the nitty-gritties of that particular game, it showed you once more the kind of investments that United needs to go on the market and do if they are going to close the gap between themselves and the teams that are at the very top. Listen, there was Christian Eriksen missing, and all of a sudden there was a chunk of creativity taken away from that team. That guy who would make that daring pass, that guy who would make that defense splitting pass. It was all evidence that United clearly have a lot of work to do. But overall, impressed with the outputs of the two teams.
But you look at this particular game, a year ago, this particular fixture meant a lot for Manchester United because it was the second debut of Cristiano Ronaldo. United won that game 4-1. A year on, it tells you this game is deadlocked 0-0, and for some parts, you could say Newcastle was the better side. If you look back at this, would you say Newcastle are currently miles ahead of Manchester United?
No. I don't think. And on the evidence of the league table, I don't think that Newcastle are.
Like, given the growth process that we witnessed in the two.
This was a game United should have won. I mean, you don't use should have and you would have and would ifs and all of these conditionalities, but this was a game United clearly should have won. Look at the chance that Rashford missed at the very end. Yes, you can talk about some of the dodgy refereeing decisions, the penalties that did not go United's way, but it's the beauty of the game. I think that, listen, a year ago, United had beaten Newcastle 4-1, but Newcastle were not in the state they are today, you understand? There was not the kind of investment that has been made into Newcastle now. They do not have a decent manager. You understand? They do not have players who understood the system and were clearly playing to a particular blueprint. It tells you how much work Newcastle have had to put in under Eddie Howe, and I think that he deserves a lot of commendation. This doesn't have to be how Newcastle has grown vis-a-vis United's performance and the growth process. I think that this was a game that was more like a chess game. And indeed, I mean, if you've looked at Newcastle against some of the biggest boys on the land, I remember, yes, they drew City in the game against Liverpool. Yes, in the game against Liverpool, had to lose it at the death, you understand? And so Newcastle are a team that has definitely shown that against the biggest of boys, they have a place at the table. Not too surprising for me.
But that United midfield, let's go into the game. It's been an area where lots of controversies, a lot of discussions have gone on. We've struggled to find out what ideal pair is, because in that City game where they were outrun, several of the commentary had to be United should have played Fred and Eriksen, United should have played Fred and McTominay, because then playing Eriksen made them light and all of that. Today Eriksen was absent and United lacked in creativity. Ideally, where is the balance? How does Erik ten Hag find that perfect combination? And what is actually that perfect combination?
Well, I think the perfect combination is simple. Bruno Fernandes, Eriksen, Casemiro. End of story. That's the perfect combination. Lucky talks about the fact that you can play two number 10s, or you can do a hybrid of an 8 and 10 and let Eriksen play in that role. You see, if you watch what Erik ten Hag did with his teams at Ajax, the two dynasties that he built, he likes to play with a playmaker that sits in front of the defense and tries to control the game from deep. You understand? And that is where you have somebody like Christian Eriksen operating in that role. But if you take Christian Eriksen out of this United team, there is nobody to fill that void. You understand? You can talk about Fred. Fred will give you all of the energy. Fred will give you all of the tackles. Will give you all of the bars. You understand? But when it comes to that telling moment, that he has to make that telling pass, that decisive
Contribution to
true
the team.
contribution, he's found wanting. And I think that for a team of United's caliber and stature, it shouldn't be the case that there is only one prototype player like Eriksen in that squad who is capable of doing that job. And maybe it tells you why United went heaven and earth to
Trying
get
to sign
Frankie de Jong. I mean, I think that's one department that United needs a lot of looking into.
But you look ahead. McTominay was out, and also Martial didn't get a look in. Cristiano Ronaldo leading the line. Is that an area where United?
You know my stance when it comes to Cristiano Ronaldo leading the lines. I think that Cristiano Ronaldo at this material does not deserve to be a starter for Manchester United. Indeed,
It
when
was
he
his
does
first
play,
start today since that Brentford debacle.
and then he was throwing a lot of shenanigans, engaging in a lot of shenanigans when he was substituted. You
He actually
understand?
scored
Well,
that comical goal, by the way.
well, for me, I think that if you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, great player, for me, the greatest player of this contemporary times. But if he plays in that United team, United need to play a certain way. They need to play with the ball at his feet, you understand? But if you play hypothetically, you play Rashford through the middle, you play Anthony Martial through the middle, United offers a lot more unpredictability, and I think that with Cristiano Ronaldo playing, United are too predictable, and for me it doesn't bode well for them. I think that Cristiano Ronaldo's place is on the bench when he comes in and finishes off games when the major starters. I expect Anthony Martial to be back against Tottenham Hotspur in midweek. I expect him to lead the lines. I think the United are a better team with Martial playing at the number 9 position as compared to Cristiano Ronaldo now.
I think the better team in the Premier League currently has got to be Potter's Chelsea. They're doing something incredible, unbeaten under Graham Potter, and he seems to be finding the right mix. Mason Mount is coming to the party, and Kepa Arrizabalaga seems a reborn man. After Mendy's injury, when he took up the reins, he was very instrumental today for Chelsea's.
Well, if there's one thing that Potter is doing right, he's using his honeymoon period right. He's pressing all the right buttons. Obviously, obviously, if there was ever going to be a buffer, it would be now. You understand? I mean, everybody deserves a second chance. This was a new manager coming in. We've talked lengths about the fact that this is his biggest job ever. This was a new manager coming in to a new, different terrain. He has not had the wealth of players in terms of the skill set that he has at his availability now in all of the teams that he has coached. But I think that what he's done in this short period of time should send a lot of echoes. It should send a lot of resonations into the annals of the football world, that this is a manager who understands what he wants to do first of all, and then this is a manager who will play players on merit. And I think that if you treat players that way, it offers you a lot of currency in the dressing room. Everybody knows that if you work hard enough, you get into the team. Everybody knows that, everybody gets to understand that if you do not work hard enough and somebody usurps you in the team, you definitely have to go at the back of the line and work your way up. I think that what he's done, and for me, what he's done is to bring some of Chelsea's very important players in the past back to fore. We spoke about Mason Mount when there was that brief renaissance under Lampard. He virtually became a darling boy for Lampard. And then when Lampard was fired and Tuchel had to walk in, Mason Mount was very instrumental at what Chelsea did, and very instrumental in them winning the Champions League. I think that with Mason Mount getting back to scoring goals, it does a lot of things for this Chelsea team. It gives the strikers another opportunity to relax, even if they are not getting the goals, and it offers diverse areas where you can have goals coming from. And for me, it's a good thing. I think this far he's done an excellent job at Chelsea, and I'm pretty sure that Ted Bowley and the guys in charge at Chelsea will be very excited the kind of project he is on now.
And the bit of Mount, you look at how he's getting back to form and all of that. It looks to me that Chelsea have found another Eden Hazard in Mason Mount. But you look at his potential, you look at the lack of consistency we witnessed in recent times, and now getting back to form. Can he be that as the new Eden Hazard for Chelsea?
Well, I don't think he needs to be the new Eden Hazard. He needs to be the Mason Mount. You understand? I think that he needs to be that individual in the team that becomes the creative hub and an alternative for scoring a lot of goals. I mean, you have perfectly described Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard in his time at Chelsea, legend. He was making goals and scoring goals, you understand? He is that one guy that you would expect that if the game was tight, he would be able to unlock defenses with his skill set, with the things that are available to him. So I think that Eden Hazard, solid player, but Mason Mount has proven that, I mean, in the little time that he's been at Chelsea, he can be that player who Chelsea has to go to all the time when they'll be able to get a lot of assists from him. They'll be able to get a lot of goals from him. For me, I'm excited by the prospects of him developing under Graham Potter. Graham Potter has shown in the past that he's one manager who knows how to get the very best of young players. And for me, I'm excited about the Mason Mount project.
Finally, before we go, the league leaders. Arsenal now have a 4-point buffer, and it looks to me we've got to start engraving their name on the Premier League title. Because you look at the game at the Ellen Road today, how the Gunners managed to escape with 3 points tells you the universe has aligned to Arsenal finally winning the Premier League title. Excellent game, and Arsenal really sent statement out there. They didn't have to play well, they were efficient, and they got the results.
Sometimes you need a lot of luck going into your side and letting you get results. And for me, I think that Arsenal showed today another side of their game. I honestly think that if you look at Arsenal, they were lucky to escape with all the 3 points. I mean, if you look at the events that unfolded, Leeds missing a penalty, Bamford missing a penalty, Saliba being silly, all of those other details that Arsenal were able to grind out this result. I think that it speaks a lot about the mentality and the shifting culture at Arsenal these days. Arsenal of old would have capitulated. I think that if you look at this Arsenal team, they are determined to go how far they can go. The point is that they know they should be in the top 4. You understand? I'm pretty sure that in the dressing room, they are not even thinking about the title yet.
Sure.
You understand? No, I'm sure they are not thinking about the title yet. They want to carry this momentum as far as they can go. Maybe when it gets to that point, when it's 6 games, 7 games, and it's this close, then the belief will start coming. But now they are enjoying their football, they are enjoying their moments. Luck is very much in their corner. And for me, another outstanding result for Arsenal, because in English football, Ellen Road is one of the toughest places you could go, with all of the vociferous supporters, with all of the rough supporters over there. Arsenal going there and grinding out the results in the manner they did today. I think that was exemplary. I think that's a feather in the cap of Arteta. And for me, he's done excellently well.
The key to all of Arsenal's success is going to be Bukayo Saka. He's a man who's really growing in stature in that Arsenal team. And I think you look at Saka and his contribution to this Arsenal team, it tells you Mikel is doing something right. If you look all around, Arsenal have the youngest Premier League team. And they would go into the December period, where we'd have the November period because of the World Cup, with quite a kind fixture list. You look in there, Chelsea are the only side you might want to say that could give them a run for their money. If Arsenal go into that November period, where would have the break with this 4-point buffer? Is this fair to say that they can start to dream about a first Premier League
4 points
title?
is not enough. 4 points is not enough.
4 points?
It's not enough. Saka, not too surprising because this season he's not been scoring a lot of goals, but last season it was about their main man. With the emergence of Gabriel and the emergence of some of the other characters in the Arsenal team, at Odegaard, you have at the back, you have Saliba, you have Gabriel doing their job. I think that with the emergence of all of these players, Saka is more relaxed about his role now. He understands the chemistry of the team. He's almost like one of the eldest statesmen in the team right now, even though he's relatively young because he's been around this team for a long time. But I think that Arsenal will go into the World Cup break with a kind fixture list, but the EPL is unpredictable. Arsenal are playing very well. There's no easy game in the EPL. There's never an easy game in the EPL. And for me, if they really want to challenge for top honors, they need to keep this momentum going for as long as they can. And then, most importantly, they need to make sure that the fitness of their key players is paramount, you understand? Because I still struggle to think that if any of the elements in the Arsenal team broke down, will there be more than enough replacements on the bench?
You're coping with the absence of Zinchenko.
Well, because they
got
already
Tomiyasu,
yes. I mean, because
who's working.
yes,
Got
they got
Tierney.
Tomiyasu who can play on the left. They have Tierney also in the wings. They have Ben White who deputizes for Tomiyasu as in fact he's the substantive right fullback for Arsenal at the moment. But I think in Tierney, that's why you have a big squad. You have a squad that's slated with a lot of quality. But let's see how far Arsenal can go. I am still not convinced that they can win the EPL.
Well, guys, the debate will definitely continue out there. Let's find out from you. Arsenal currently are enjoying a 4-point buffer and will go into the World Cup break should they continue the momentum at the top of the table. But do you think the Gunners can go on to win the Premier League title? Drop a comment in the comment section. Once again, this is Sport 101 shooting live from Ad Focus Studios and Nache Takrali, the Western region of Ghana.